Market Mantra, Market Mantra, Market Mantra, Market Mantra, Market Mantra, Market Mantra, Mantra.
Namaskar and welcome to this edition of Market Mantra, the program in which we give you a complete update on the economic news of the day. And today, friends, we shall also be taking calls from you on any queries that you may have on economic, business and stock market news. But please do remember that we do not address company-specific queries. Well, you may call us on the numbers 233-14444, 2371-7106 and 2342-1050. If you are calling us from outside Delhi, please do not forget to add 011 as a prefix to these numbers. Well, I'm your hostess Lalima Aneja Dang and with me is my co-anchor in Hindi, Vibhuti Mishra.
धन्यवाद लालिमा। नमस्कार श्रोताओं, मार्केट मंत्र के ताज़ा अंक में आपका स्वागत है। आधे घंटे के इस कार्यक्रम में हम लाएंगे आप तक आर्थिक, व्यापारिक और शेयर बाजार की खबरें, साथ ही उन पर चर्चा भी करेंगे। यहाँ बता दें कि कार्यक्रम में किसी कंपनी विशेष या स्टॉक के बारे में जानकारी नहीं दी जाती है। हमारे 3 टेलीफोन नंबर्स हैं 23314444, 23717106 और तीसरा नंबर है 23421050। इस पर फोन करके आप सवाल पूछ सकते हैं। दिल्ली से बाहर के श्रोता इन नंबरों से पहले 011 अवश्य डायल करें। स्टूडियो में चर्चा के लिए आज आमंत्रित हैं आर्थिक विश्लेषक शिशिर सिन्हा। शिशिर जी, कार्यक्रम में आपका बहुत स्वागत है।
धन्यवाद।
और अब अंग्रेजी में हेडलाइंस के साथ मौजूद हैं मेरी सहयोगी लालिमा अनेजा डेंग।
धन्यवाद विभूति। Yes, the headlines first. Domestic stocks end higher. Sensex crosses 67,000 mark. Nifty hits 20,000 level for the first time ever amid strong rally. Sovereign Gold Bond Scheme 2023-24 series, this second series opens for subscription till the 15th of September. And Brent crude hovers around $90.39 per barrel.
शेयर बाजार का सुपर सोमवार। मध्य सत्र में इतिहास रचकर निफ्टी 20,000 के पार, सेंसेक्स की भी ऊंची उड़ान 67,000 के पार। सॉवरेन गोल्ड बॉन्ड स्कीम 2023-24 सीरीज 2 सब्सक्रिप्शन 15 सितंबर तक के लिए खुल गई और ब्रेंट कच्चे तेल की कीमत $90 और 39 सेंट प्रति बैरल के आसपास। और अब आज की सबसे बड़ी खबर स्टॉक मार्केट की। प्रमुख घरेलू शेयर सूचकांक आज भारी बढ़त के साथ बंद हुए हैं। बीएसई सेंसेक्स 67,000 अंक से ऊपर बंद हुआ, जबकि नेशनल स्टॉक एक्सचेंज का प्रमुख सूचकांक निफ्टी ने मध्य सत्र में 20,000 मील का पत्थर पार करके इतिहास रच दिया। मिश्रित वैश्विक संकेतों के बीच दोनों सूचकांकों में तेजी रही। बीएसई सेंसेक्स 528 अंक या 0.8% बढ़कर 67,128 पर बंद हुआ। निफ्टी भी 176 अंक या 0.9% बढ़कर 19,996 पर बंद हुआ। बीएसई के व्यापक बाजार में मिड कैप इंडेक्स 1.2% और स्मॉल कैप इंडेक्स 0.7% बढ़ा।
Well, Vibhuti, by calling it a super Somvar, I think you've set the tone for the program. The key domestic share indices today closed with heavy gains. The BSE Sensex closed above the 67,000 mark, while the National Stock Exchange's flagship index Nifty 50 made history by crossing the 20,000 milestone in mid-session, supported by a strong rally in heavyweight stocks. Both indices rose amid mixed global cues. The BSE Sensex rose 528 points or 0.8% to finish at 67,128. The NSE Nifty also advanced 176 points or 0.9% to settle at 19,996. In the broader market, at the BSE, the mid-cap index accelerated 1.2% and the small-cap index rose 0.7%. In the Sensex index, which is a pack of 30 companies, shares of 28 companies appreciated, while those of 2 declined. Power Grid rose 2.2%, Axis Bank and Maruti both gained 2% each. HCL Technologies advanced 1.5%. On the other hand, Larsen & Toubro declined 0.27% and Bajaj Finance slumped 0.22%. In sectoral indices at the BSE, all sectors witnessed gains. Service sector was the top gainer as it surged 3%, followed by utilities sector, which added 2.45%. Telecommunication advanced 2.3% and power sector accelerated 2%. The overall market breadth was positive as shares of 2,107 companies appreciated and 1,665 companies declined. A total of 170 shares remained unchanged. So, Shishir, what do you have to say about the fact that the BSE Sensex has now crossed 67,000 and Nifty has made history by crossing 20,000 milestone?
It's a combination of many factors. If you take the GDP number, it started with the GDP number. Since the GDP number for the first quarter, that is April, June, was really good, then we saw another high frequency economic indicators, what we know as the GST collection, and also the PMI manufacturing. All of them were showing a very good sign. At the same time, we have seen that the geopolitical tension has subsided now. I mean, we are seeing some kind of relief on the geopolitical thing. And above all, the kind of consensus, 100% consensus we saw on many of the geopolitical issues during the G20 meeting we just concluded, all these contributed in a fresh buying, not just on the Bombay Stock Exchange, but also on the National Stock Exchange, and which is why we are seeing 67,000 plus Sensex and 20,000 plus Nifty. And the good thing is that domestic institutions are equally buying, not just the foreign portfolio investors, but domestic institutions are also buying very heavily. So combination of many factors, but at the end of the day, the numbers are good.
So we can say that the confidence of Indian citizens and at a global level, the confidence regarding India is now really high.
Yeah, of course. And the good thing is that the leadership during the G20 summit, it has also shown that what kind of economic opportunities we are offering.
Yes.
We should not forget that when we have the G20 meeting, almost 85% of global GDP, 75% of global trade, and two-thirds of the global population, all of them were represented on the platform, what we know as the G20, and now we can call it as the G21 because the African Union is also part of that.
Right.
So this gave an opportunity to show what kind of investment and trade opportunities we are going to have, and also how we can contribute in the GVC, what we call as the global value chain and global supply chain. So all these things are really prompting people to come and invest in India.
करेक्ट।
हमारे साथ बंगाल से मोहन राउत जी हैं, हम इनसे सवाल लेंगे, लेकिन एक बार बताइए, आप ठीक है, आप भविष्य वक्ता भी नहीं हैं, लेकिन जो निवेश करना चाहेंगे तो इन आंकड़ों को देख करके वो क्या सोचेंगे, आपका क्या सलाह होगा उनके लिए?
देखिए, मेरी तो हमेशा से राय रही है कि बाजार में तेजी है तो निवेश मत करिए, बल्कि जो निवेश है उस पे मुनाफा कमाइए। जब बाजार में गिरावट आए तो पैसा लगाइए, क्योंकि तेजी पे अगर आप निवेश करेंगे तो फिर आपको इंतजार करना पड़ेगा एक और तेजी का, जहां पर आप मुनाफा कमा सके। तो अभी मौका है जिन्होंने निवेश कर रखा है उन मुनाफा कमाने का, जिन्होंने निवेश नहीं किया है उनके लिए मेरी सलाह होगी, शायद वो मुझे बुरा भी कहेंगे, भला बुरा कहेंगे, लेकिन मैं उनसे इतना ही आग्रह करूंगा कि तेजी में कभी ना जाइए, वो आपको कभी भी फायदा नहीं दे सकता है।
राइट।
तो बंगाल से मोहन राउत जी हैं हमारे साथ। मोहन राउत जी, आपका स्वागत है मार्केट मंत्र में, अपना प्रश्न पूछिए।
हाँ सर, मैं पूछना चाहता हूँ कि एसएमई आईपीओ का जो मैंडेट रिक्वेस्ट है उसे हम अगर गूगल पे से करते हैं तो वो सही रहेगा या सही ठीक नहीं रहेगा?
देखिए, एसएमई का जो आईपीओ में, किसी भी आईपीओ में अगर आप इन्वेस्ट करना है तो सबसे अच्छा आपके लिए तरीका आसबा का है, जो एप्लीकेशन सपोर्टेड बाय ब्लॉक्ड अकाउंट होता है। वो आपके लिए सबसे बेहतर है जो आपके बैंक अकाउंट से सीधे सीधे जुड़ा है। देखिए यूपीआई हो, भीम हो, ये सारे जो डिजिटल इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं, डिजिटल मैकेनिज्म है, ये आपको इन्वेस्टमेंट में पैसा लगाने के लिए एक विकल्प तो देते हैं, लेकिन मेरी सलाह ये होगी कि आसपास से लगाएं। उससे एक फ़ायदा क्या होगा कि मान लीजिए कि आपको अगर शेयर नहीं मिले तो आपके पास रिटर्न आने में टाइम नहीं लगेगा, तुरंत ही अनब्लॉक हो जाएगा और जितने समय तक पैसा लगा हुआ है उतने समय का इंटरेस्ट भी आपको मिलेगा।
Shishir, you talked about when Vibhuti asked you about investment. Does that mean that you are referring to mid cap and small cap both? Because we do see in the last few days that mid cap and small cap have been doing good, and we have always said that for short term investment, you invest in mid cap, small cap. Are things changing now?
See, I mean, it depends upon individual to individual. Many people think that the good time to invest when the market is on high. And whether we talk about the large cap, whether we talk about the mid cap, whether we talk about the small cap. But please remember that 85% of market volumes come from large cap.
Right.
80%, I beg your pardon, and 15% from the mid cap and 5% from the small cap. So just think of this number before putting money into any kind of shares, that where the volume is, because at the end of the day, liquidity does matter. When you need money,
Absolutely.
you need to have person who is ready to buy your stock. So if that is not available, then you will have to wait, or if the market making facility is there, then you can think of some kind of relief. But my advice would be that always think for the value stock, whether it is whether it is a large, mid or small.
Right. We are joined by N.R. Prasad, who's calling us all the way from Bengaluru. Yes, Mr. Prasad, please ask your question.
Good evening, Market Mantra.
Good evening. Ji.
This is N.R. Prasad from Bangalore.
Ji.
Mr. Sinha, there are two questions. The first question is, today Nifty touched 20,000. Really, it is a historic event for the traders actually. Is this the effect of the G20 summit or the pact signed with all these countries? That is the question. My second question is, there is an endorsement also for the cryptocurrency in this G20 meet. So you mean to say we can buy more of the cryptocurrencies? These are my two questions. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Prasad, first of all, it's a combination of factor, not just the G20 thing. Of course, the G20 is one of the factors which have contributed in what kind of bull run we are seeing in the stock market. But you should also remember that domestic institutions are also heavily buying in many of the sectors, and that has also contributed a Sensex to touch 67,000 plus and Nifty to touch 20,000. So I won't say that this is just one factor, it's a combination of factor. Coming to your second question about the crypto, I beg your pardon, I will not use the word cryptocurrency, I will use the word crypto asset, because the currency is just one thing, that is a sovereign currency, what we know as the INR in our country, that's a Indian rupee. So if you're talking about the crypto asset, what the G20 resolution says, they have endorsed the recommendations given by Financial Stability Board on the regulation of crypto asset. And now there is a synthesis paper by International Monetary Fund and the Financial Stability Board. And this synthesis paper will be discussed during the Maracas meeting, which is going to held next month. And then each and every country will try to find something what we call as the regulatory mechanism. There is a bare minimum thing which has been recommended by the FSP, and any country which thinks that the too much risk is there, they can have much more stringent measure. Now the question is whether you are going to invest in the crypto. It's your call. It's nothing to do with my suggestions or something. We all should remember that's a very, very risky asset. We do not know who is behind that asset. So that is one thing you should keep in mind before putting money in crypto assets.
The Honorable Finance Minister in the last budget also talked about regulation in this sector. Is it easy to have a regulation in this sector? As you said, it's like being in being in the dark where you don't know where its origin is and where it's going. And is it possible to regulate?
See, regulation is possible only when all the countries, all the economies are coming together, or rather I would use the word maximum or majority of the countries coming together to have a mechanism. Because there is no boundary in this kind of asset. So until unless other countries are also having the regulatory mechanism, this will not work. So
Exactly.
each and every country will also have to think about that. And that is why what we are doing, first we impose 30% tax on that.
Yes.
Then we also went for the TCS, which is called as the tax TDS, tax deducted at source. And now we are talking about that once the Marrakesh meeting goes through all the recommendation, then we will think of the regulatory mechanism.
और आज भारत और यूके के बीच मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक और बहुपक्षीय मुद्दों पे बातें हुई हैं. हमारी सहयोगी लालिमा जी इस खबर को बताएंगे प्रमुखता से, और इसके बाद हम फिर थाने से हमारे कॉलर हैं गुरुनाथ जी, उनसे भी प्रश्न लेंगे.
I think first we can take
Yeah,
the caller
sure.
because
Why not?
he's been online for a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yes, Gurunath ji, are you connected?
नमस्कार.
नमस्कार जी, प्लीज आस्क योर क्वेश्चन, सवाल पूछें अपना जी.
शिक्षण सर को भी नमस्कार.
हाँ, नमस्कार गुरुनाथ जी.
हाँ सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड है. सर अभी जो हमारे रेलवे में बहुत सारे रिफॉर्म हो रहे हैं, गवर्नमेंट वगैरह, पेट्रोल, तो इसके संबंधित सेक्टर में मतलब जाना, इन्वेस्ट करना ठीक रहेगा.
गुरुनाथ जी, आपकी आवाज़ थोड़ी स्पष्ट नहीं है, साफ नहीं है. अगर रेडियो बज रहा है तो उसे बंद कर दें और थोड़ी सी अपने प्रश्न को आप स्पष्ट करें.
हाँ जी सर. हाँ जी सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन है जो रिलेटेड है रेलवे सेक्टर के जो कंपनी है जो फ्यूचर में
Oh, I'm sorry गुरुनाथ जी, आपकी आवाज़ क्लियर बिल्कुल नहीं आ रही है. शायद कुछ आपकी तरफ से फ़ोन में टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम होगी. Anyway, as you talked about, had to talk about this, Vibhuti ji, I think you were prophetic in this. The 12th annual India-UK Economic Financial Dialogue meeting was held in New Delhi today under the joint leadership of Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and UK Chancellor of the Exchequer Jeremy Hunt. Discussions on macroeconomic and multilateral issues, financial services, trade, infrastructure investments and green financing was held during the meeting. Later briefing media, Ms. Sitharaman said that we are highly encouraged by the intensified collaboration between India and the UK in the area of financial services. She said the UK expressed willingness to further extend its footprint in the Gift City IFSC and foster a robust fintech partnership. The finance minister expressed happiness over the tangible progress achieved through the India-UK financial partnership, which has evolved into a leading public and private sector collaborative forum for dialogue across the financial sector. More on this later. Right now we are joined by Vikas Mahato from Kolkata. जी विकास जी, अपना सवाल पूछें.
जी नमस्ते मार्केट मंत्रा.
नमस्ते,
अभी तो
जी.
नमस्कार
जी
मेरा.
नमस्कार.
अभी तीनों सेक्टर के बारे में पूछना चाहता हूँ. मेरा अभी 36 ईयर्स है और 5 साल के लिए पूछ रहा हूँ. रेलवे सेक्टर, डिफेंस सेक्टर और प्राइवेट बैंकिंग सेक्टर.
ओके. आपका चूंकि टाइम होराइजन 5 साल का है तो मैं ये समझ रहा हूँ कि मीडियम टर्म का है, चूंकि शॉर्ट रन के बाद जो मीडियम टर्म का है 3 से 5 साल का. उम्र आपकी 36 वर्ष की है, तो मेरे हिसाब से आपको सबसे ऊपर डिफेंस रखना चाहिए. डिफेंस की वजह भी मैं आपको बता दूं कि रक्षा क्षेत्र में जिस तरीके के निवेश आ रहे हैं, जिस तरीके के नए नए नवाचार हम लोग देख रहे हैं, नए उत्पादन में काफ़ी ज़्यादा हम लोग तेज़ी देख रहे हैं और ऑर्डर बुक काफ़ी अच्छा है सारी कंपनीज का. एक्सपोर्ट के भी चांसेस बन रहे हैं, तो डिफेंस आपके लिए काफ़ी अच्छा होगा. उसके बाद दूसरे नंबर पर रेलवे को आप रख सकते हैं, क्योंकि रेलवे मैं दूसरे नंबर पर इसलिए रख रहा हूं क्योंकि रेलवे के बहुत सारे प्रोजेक्ट्स में बहुत लंबा जेस्टेशन पीरियड है, तो आप उसको दूसरे नंबर पर रख सकते हैं. और तीसरा सेक्टर इनका अगर मैं रिकॉल कर पा रहा हूं तो 3 सेक्टर की इन्होंने बात, हाँ प्राइवेट बैंकिंग की बात की थी. देखिए बैंकिंग सेक्टर अच्छा क्षेत्र है. प्राइवेट बैंकिंग चाहे पब्लिक सेक्टर की बैंकिंग, दोनों की बात करें दोनों ही अच्छा है. प्राइवेट बैंकिंग में वैल्यूएशन अभी ज़्यादा बेटर दिख रहा है, लेकिन उसमें थोड़ा सा भी जोखिम भी ज़्यादा है, क्योंकि ब्याज दरें अगर कम होंगी तो उनकी कीमतों पर असर पड़ेगा. तो आप शुरुआत कर सकते हैं रक्षा, फिर रेलवे और उसके बाद प्राइवेट बैंकिंग.
जी, आज इंडिया और यूके की आपस में बात हुई है, मीटिंग हुई है, तो क्या शेयर बाजार से भी जुड़ी कुछ आपको लगता है
जी बिल्कुल। और आपको मैं थोड़ा सा पीछे ले चलना चाहूँगा। जुलाई में जब वित्त मंत्री ने घोषणा की थी कि जो स्टार्टअप्स हैं या जो भारतीय कंपनियां हैं वो गिफ्ट सिटी पर अपने शेयरों को लिस्ट करा सकती हैं। दरअसल गिफ्ट सिटी हम सभी को पता है कि एक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय व्यवस्था है, तो आप गिफ्ट सिटी पर लिस्ट करा करके आप विदेशी बाजार से पैसा जुटा सकते हैं। और हम सभी जानते हैं कि शेयर बाजार से पैसा जुटाना सबसे सस्ता विकल्प होता है। अब दूसरी बात ये चल रही है कि गिफ्ट सिटी के बाद कौन सा ऐसा इंटरनेशनल स्टॉक एक्सचेंज होगा। तो आज जो यूके के चांसलर ऑफ ट्रेजरी हैं, जिनको वित्त मंत्री भी हम लोग कहते हैं अपनी भाषा में, उन्होंने कहा कि भारत ने इच्छा जताई है, भारत इस बात की संभावनाएं तलाश कर रहा है कि किस तरीके से लंदन स्टॉक एक्सचेंज पर भारतीय कंपनियों को सीधे सीधे अपने शेयर सूचीबद्ध कराने की अनुमति दी जाए, यानी कि ग्रेट ब्रिटेन के बाजार से भी वो पैसा जुटा सकते हैं। तो ये एक अहम घोषणा है और स्टार्टअप कंपनीज को इससे काफी फायदा होगा।
जी बिल्कुल।
Ji. Here's another piece of news by the RBI. The Reserve Bank of India, on behalf of the Government of India, has announced that the Sovereign Gold Bond Scheme 2023-24 series, that is second series, opens today. And the price is fixed at 5,923 rupees per gram of gold. This will remain open for buying till Friday, the 15th of September. For investors making payment through digital means, getting an additional discount of 50 rupees per gram, which makes the price further attractive at 5,873 rupees. Sovereign gold bonds can be bought by individuals, Hindu undivided family, as well as other investors. The bonds are issued at the price of gold, and the minimum permissible investment is 1 gram of gold. They offer an interest at the rate of 2.5% per year, payable half yearly on the nominal value of the bond. These bonds can be held in demat account. At the time of redemption, the investor is paid the then prevailing price of gold. Quite self-explanatory, this report is, Shishir. Anything you want to comment in addition to what has been there?
I think this is one of the best investment option. Why I call it best investment option? There are three reasons for that. Number one, you don't have to think about the security of physical gold. So you can have the benefit of changes in the price of gold without keeping the physical gold. So you don't have to spend on that. Number two, when you are getting 2.5% every year for 8 years, the tenure for this bond is 8 years. And after 5 years, you can withdraw, but then you have to pay the capital gain tax. But if you withdraw after 8 years, you don't have to pay any tax. So this is another good thing, which is why I'm saying it's a good option. And the third thing, which is also critical, that gold prices are always, after a gap of say 2 or 3 years, it sees good rise.
Yes.
So it's a better option than any other investment option. I mean, PPF and the sovereign gold bond, for any individual who is looking for less riskier one and having a better appreciation of the capital, I think he or she should go for sovereign gold bond as well as the PPF.
It's tax-free also.
It's a tax-free.
So that's another
but
benefit.
you have to keep the gold bond for the 8 years.
Yeah.
After 5 years, you have to pay the capital gain tax.
Right. We are now joined by Guru Nath calling us from Thane. I hope we are connected well this time. Hello, Guru Nath ji.
हाँ जी मैम नमस्कार।
जी नमस्कार जी, सवाल पूछें जी।
क्वेश्चन है मैम, सेक्टर के बारे में। मैम अभी हमारे देश में रेलवे में रिफॉर्म हो रहे हैं, बुलेट ट्रेन आ रही है, पेट्रोल का काम चलता रहता है इधर उधर। तो मैम भविष्य में मतलब फ्यूचर में क्या इससे रिलेटेड जो कंपनी है उसमें नाम चाहिए मैडम? थैंक यू।
मुझे लगता है कि आप रेलवे की बात कर रहे हैं गुरुनाथ जी।
हेलो, नहीं कुछ क्लियर अभी नहीं था, अनफॉर्चुनेटली
नहीं था। इसी बीच रुपया का हाल जान लेते हैं। विदेशी मुद्रा बाजार में रुपया आज अमेरिकी डॉलर के मुकाबले 83 रुपये 2 पैसे पर बंद हुआ। विश्व की 6 प्रमुख मुद्राओं की तुलना में डॉलर की मजबूती दर्शाने वाला डॉलर इंडेक्स दिन के कारोबार में 104.66 पर कारोबार कर रहा था।
So what do you make of the rupee now? It's been around 82, 83, hovering around that only for the last.
One concern is there, since the crude prices are going up. It has already exceeded $90 a barrel. That means you have to pay more in dollar terms, and that means you have to spend more rupee on that. That is something which is having a factor on the rupee. The only positive thing at this moment is that we are getting more and more FPI. So that will give some kind of comfort, because the forex reserve is high. Then the rupee will certainly will not be pressurized by the thing. But if that import bill is getting higher, then the pressure on rupee will be higher. That is one concern I have at this moment.
Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yes, Vibhuti
वक्त है एशिया और यूरोप के बाजार का हाल जानने का। एशियाई शेयर बाजार आज मिश्रित रुख के साथ बंद हुए। चीन का शंघाई कंपोजिट सूचकांक 0.8% बढ़ा। दक्षिण कोरिया का कोस्पी 0.35% चढ़ा। सिंगापुर का स्ट्रेट टाइम्स इंडेक्स 0.3% बढ़ा। दूसरी ओर हांगकांग का हैंगसेंग सूचकांक 0.6% और जापान का निक्केई 0.45% गिर गया। दिन के कारोबार में यूरोपीय बाजार बढ़त के साथ कारोबार कर रहे थे। फ्रांस का कैक और जर्मनी का डेक्स 0.3% से ऊपर कारोबार कर रहे थे। अंतिम समाचार मिलने तक लंदन का फुटसी सपाट कारोबार कर रहा था।
How do you view the Asian stock markets which have ended mixed today? It's a mixed bag.
Because see, the China is still, the issues are still with China.
Yes,
we are
yes.
not getting the clear data that what is happening there. Some data shows that the economy is slowing down. Some data is showing that the demand is slightly picking up. So there is a mixed trend. I mean, this is difficult to say that whether the things are better or things are worse or things are bad in China. And since when we talk about the Asian economies or the Asian markets, the Chinese economy plays a very dominant role. So, I mean, it's a difficult to say that which are the factors which have contributed in the mixed trend in the equity market. At the same time, Japan is having some kind of recovery in the economy term. Inflation is also under control. South Korea is also doing well. But the other economies, like as I told you about the China, and the other economy which we have to keep an eye is the Vietnam. Vietnam, we also, because of Vietnam, the way it's emerging, that is something which is giving a good hope for the Asian market. So it's a mixed kind of thing. And since the China has a major share in global value chain as well as the global supply chain, so any kind of disruptions in the supply chain will have some sort of impact on the overall stock market.
The fact that G20 gave voice to the global south, as our Honorable Prime Minister keeps saying, does that also have kind of some effect on the markets in the Asian countries?
See, that is a very remote kind of connection between the voice for global south and market impact in South Asia, in overall Asian. Of course, in India, that's a different issue. When we talk about the global south, what exactly we mean by global south? Global south means emerging economies, developing economies, least developed economies, and the poorer economies. And most of the economies, if we talk about the 190 plus economies which we always track, so out of 190 economies, there are just 39 economies which are in the advanced economies or the what we can say in the better growth economies. So there are a number of countries which are in the least developed and the poorer economies. There we have to think about what kind of support we can provide to them.
Right. Let's take a look at the oil prices now. Oil prices edged lower today after Saudi and Russian crude output cuts had driven prices to 10 months high last week. Saudi Arabia and Russia have earlier announced that they will extend voluntary supply cuts of a combined 1.3 million barrels per day until the end of the year. In intraday trade, Brent crude was trading at $90.39 per barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude price was at $87.02 per barrel when reports last came in.
मल्टी कमोडिटी एक्सचेंज में अक्टूबर अनुबंध के लिए सोना आज बढ़त पर कारोबार कर रहा था। सोना 126 रुपये की तेजी के साथ 59,024 रुपये प्रति 10 ग्राम पर कारोबार कर रहा था। अंतिम समाचार मिलने तक दिसंबर अनुबंध के लिए चांदी भी 433 रुपये की बढ़त के साथ 71,996 रुपये प्रति किलोग्राम पर कारोबार कर रही थी। वैश्विक बाजार में न्यूयॉर्क मर्केंटाइल एक्सचेंज में सोना $1,948 और 40 सेंट प्रति औंस पर कारोबार कर रहा था। दिन के कारोबार में चांदी $23 और 38 सेंट प्रति औंस पर कारोबार कर रही थी।
All right. Thank you, Mr. Shishir Sinha, for joining us at Akashvani in our studios. You were there commenting at G20 for Doordarshan as well. We saw you. And now, friends, before we wind up, here's a reminder of the headlines. Domestic stocks end higher. Sensex crosses 67,000 mark. Nifty ends 20,000 level for the first time ever amid strong rally. Sovereign Gold Bond Scheme 2023-24 series, second series, opens for subscription till the 15th of September. And Brent crude hovers around $90.39 per barrel. Well, that's all we have for you, friends, in this edition of Market Mantra. This is myself, Lalema Aneja Dang, and my co-anchor, Vibhuti Mishra, signing off. Namaskar.
नमस्कार.
Market Mantra, Mantra. Market Mantra. Market Mantra. Market Mantra.
This is Akashvani, the news read by Ramya.